September 11th, 1893, marked a historic moment as the Parliament of Religions opened its doors to the world, setting the stage for a momentous encounter between East and West. Among the delegates was a humble monk from India, destined to make a profound impact with just a few words. In this episode, we delve into the dramatic opening of the Parliament of Religions at the World's Columbian Exposition. Join us as we witness Swami Vivekananda's remarkable debut before an audience eager for a message of unity and tolerance. Discover how his groundbreaking speech not only captured hearts but also left an enduring legacy that resonates even today. Chapter 6: The Parliament of Religions. On Monday, September 11th, 1893, the Parliament of Religions opened its deliberations with due solemnity. This great meeting was an adjunct of the World's Columbian Exposition, which had been organized to celebrate the 400th anniversary of the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus. One of the main goals of the exposition was to disseminate knowledge of the progress and enlightenment brought about in the world by Western savants, and especially through physical science and technology. But as religion forms a vital factor in human culture, it had been decided to organize a Parliament of Religions in conjunction with the exposition. Dr. Barrows, in his History of the Parliament of Religions, writes, "Since faith in a divine power to whom men believe they owe service and worship has been like the sun, a life-giving and fructifying potency in man's intellectual and moral development, since religion lies at the back of Hindu literature with its marvelous and mystic developments. Of the European art, whether in the form of Grecian statues or Gothic cathedrals, and of American liberty and the recent uprisings of men on behalf of a juster social condition. And since it is as clear as the light that the religion of Christ has led to many of the chief and noblest developments of our modern civilization, it did not appear that religion any more than education, art, or electricity should be excluded from the Columbian Exposition. It is not altogether improbable that some of the more enthusiastic Christian theologians among the promoters of the Parliament thought that the Parliament would give them an opportunity to prove the superiority of Christianity professed by the vast majority of the people of the progressive West over the other faiths of the world. Much later, Swami Vivekananda said in one of his jocular moods that the Divine Mother herself willed the Parliament in order to give him an opportunity to present the eternal religion of the Hindus before the world at large, and that the stage was set for him to play his important role, everything else being incidental. The appropriateness of this remark can be appreciated now, decades after the great event, from the fact that whereas all else that was said and discussed at the Parliament has been forgotten, what Vivekananda preached is still cherished in America, and the movement inaugurated by him has endeared itself to American hearts. One of the chief advantages, to quote the words of the Honourable Mr. Merwin Marie Snell, President of the Scientific Section of the Parliament, has been in the great lessons which it has taught the Christian world, especially the people of the United States, namely, that there are other religions more venerable than Christianity, which surpass it in philosophical depths, in spiritual intensity, in independent vigor of thought, and in breadth and sincerity of human sympathy, while not yielding to it a single hair's breadth in ethical beauty and efficiency. At 10 a.m. the Parliament opened. In it, every form of organized religious belief, as professed among 1,200 millions of people, was represented. Among the non-Christian groups could be counted Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Shintoism, Mohammedanism, and Mazdaism. The spacious hall and the huge gallery of the Art Palace were packed with 7,000 people, men and women representing the culture of the United States. The official delegates marched in a grand procession to the platform, and in the center, in his scarlet robe, sat Cardinal Gibbons, the highest prelate of the Roman Catholic Church in the Western Hemisphere. He occupied a chair of state and opened the meeting with a prayer. On his left and right were grouped the Oriental delegates: Pratap Chandra Mazumdar of the Kolkata Brahmo Samaj and Nagarkar of Bombay Dharmapala, representing the Ceylon Buddhists, Gandhi, representing the Jains, Chakravarti, and Annie Besant of the Theosophical Society. With them sat Swami Vivekananda, who represented no particular sect, but the universal religion of the Vedas, and who spoke, as will presently be seen, for the religious aspiration of all humanity. His gorgeous robe, large yellow turban, bronze complexion, and fine features stood out prominently on the platform and drew everybody's notice. In numerical order, the Swami's position was number 31. The delegates arose one by one and read prepared speeches, but the Hindu sannyasin was totally unprepared. He had never before addressed such an assembly. When he was asked to give his message, he was seized with stage fright and requested the chairman to call on him a little later. Several times he postponed the summons. As he admitted later, "Of course, my heart was fluttering and my tongue nearly dried up. I was so nervous that I could not venture to speak in the morning session. At last he came to the rostrum and Dr. Barrows introduced him. Bowing to Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, he addressed the audience as sisters and brothers of America. Instantly, thousands arose in their seats and gave him loud applause. They were deeply moved to see, at last, a man who discarded formal words and spoke to them with the natural and candid warmth of a brother. It took a full 2 minutes before the tumult subsided, and the Swami began his speech by thanking the youngest of the nations in the name of the most ancient monastic order in the world, the Vedic order of sannyasins. The keynote of his address was universal toleration and acceptance. He told the audience how India, even in olden times, had given shelter to the religious refugees of other lands. For instance, the Israelites and the Zoroastrians, and he quoted from the scriptures the following 2 passages revealing the Hindu spirit of toleration. As different streams, having their sources in different places, all mingle their water in the sea, so, O Lord, the different paths which men take through different tendencies, various though they appear, crooked or straight, all lead to thee. Whosoever comes to me, through whatsoever form, I reach him. All men are struggling through many paths which in the end lead to me. In conclusion, he pleaded for the quick termination of sectarianism, bigotry, and fanaticism. The response was deafening applause. It appeared that the whole audience had been patiently awaiting this message of religious harmony. A Jewish intellectual remarked to the present writer years later that after hearing Vivekananda, he realized for the first time that his own religion, Judaism, was true, and that the Swami had addressed his words on behalf of not only his religion, but all religions of the world. Whereas every one of the other delegates had spoken for his own ideal or his own sect, the Swami had spoken about God, who, as the ultimate goal of all faiths, is their inmost essence. And he had learnt that truth at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, who had taught incessantly from his direct experience that all religions are but so many paths to reach the same goal. The Swami gave utterance to the yearning of the modern world to break down the barriers of caste, colour and creed and to fuse all people into one humanity. Not a word of condemnation for any faith, however crude or irrational, fell from his lips. He did not believe that this religion or that religion was true in this or that respect. To him, all religions were equally effective paths to lead their respective devotees, with diverse tastes and temperaments, to the same goal of perfection. Years before, young Narendra had condemned before his master, in his neophyte zeal, a questionable sect that indulged in immoral practices in the name of religion, and Ramakrishna had mildly rebuked him, saying, "Why should you criticize those people? Their way, too, ultimately leads to God. There are many doors to enter a mansion. The scavenger comes in by the back door. You need not use it." How prophetic were the master's words that his Narain would one day shake the world. Mrs. S.K. Blodgett, who later became the Swami's hostess in Los Angeles, said about her impressions of the Parliament, "I was at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1893. When that young man got up and said, 'Sisters and brothers of America,' 7,000 people rose to their feet as a tribute to something they knew not what. When it was over, I saw scores of women walking over the benches to get near him, and I said to myself, "Well, my lad, if you can resist that onslaught, you are indeed a god." In the next video, we dive deeper into the profound influence of his subsequent addresses and how his message of spiritual unity and societal upliftment captured the imagination of America. Join us as we unravel the fascinating events of his rise to fame, the challenges he faced, and the indelible mark he left on the Western world. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.